sitting 18, 24 hours in the dark with small kids.
Not fun.
You got a little time. Make a move if you know. But the rain picking up. You can hear it right now. We're going to go over to the Weather Center and get an update. Chief Meteorologist Scott Roberts is heading to the wall as we speak. Scott, what's the latest, sir?
The latest on Michael is that it is an intense Category 4 storm. Winds are sustained at 145 miles per hour, and the window is starting to close now for it to really intensify much more, though this is a very strong storm. Pressure has been dropping 928 millibars. That's lower the pressure gets, the stronger the winds are able to become, and they have increased since yesterday to that 145 mile per hour range. And as far as this being a Category 4 storm right now, it's not out of the question that we'll have winds gusting into that Category 5 strength as this does come on shore somewhere near Panama City, somewhere in Bay County is where the bullseye is for this to make landfall. One thing that has changed from the earlier advisory on this system is that they're expecting now that it is going to be a little bit slower to weaken as it does come on shore, possibly as a Category 2 storm coming through maybe Houston County or the center line just to the south of the border there along the Chattahoochee River there. Jackson County going to be seeing some very intense winds with the storm as it does move northward. So even into this evening with that time plot there, 8 o'clock, 100 mile per hour sustained winds. Well, actually Eastern time, so 7 o'clock Central time there as this moves through, and that's going to be enough to really create a lot of havoc for us. Considerably weaker than what they will be dealing with down at the coast, but still a very formative storm moving into the area, something that should be taken very seriously. Now, on satellite imagery, our high-resolution infrared satellite shows a very well-defined center of circulation. There's the eye. The strongest winds are going to be right around there in the eye wall. It's going to be starting to get under the influence of the land. You can see heading towards Apalachicola, the way the land protrudes out. That's going to help to slow down the inflow a little bit. So that's why we don't anticipate this to strengthen significantly before it does make landfall later on this morning or even into the early afternoon hours. Basically right around midday is when the strongest winds will be coming on shore. And that's why our Panama City affiliate is bringing their crews in, because conditions there are going to be deteriorating very rapidly over the next hour or so with this system. On the radar imagery, we can see some very intense thunderstorms clustered right around that eye wall there. Some lightning indicating some of those taller and stronger storms. A little bit earlier, we did actually have a tornado warning heading into the Big Bend area near Cedar Key. So that's just the start of the first of many we will likely see on the eastern part of this storm. Basically, the center line of the path eastward toward Jacksonville is where we do have that best chance of having tornadic development, but the big story is in the Wiregrass. It's going to be the intense wind in excess of hurricane force for several hours that will be creating a lot of damage closer to us here in the Wiregrass. The heavy rain starting to move into the area with those feeder bands, southern Houston County, Jackson County to Holmes County, a very intense band starting to come in. It's likely going to be producing tropical storm force wind as it is moving through. As far as the readings from the area right now, sustained winds east at 24 miles per hour in Marianna. Further to the south, that's where those winds are going to be a little bit stronger, where we do have those more intense colors painted on the map. Now, as far as the gusts right now, 36 miles per hour in Marianna, that's the strongest we've seen so far, but that is going to be picking up as we do head through the morning hours. So certainly conditions will be deteriorating, and that's why Houston County does have that curfew in place starting midday today. So as far as the projections for us, hour by hour, we are going to be dealing with that center of circulation possibly on shore of Bay County just after 1 o'clock. Winds will be well within tropical storm force for us as we do head through say lunchtime and beyond. And as that center gets closer, our model is now projecting that that center could cross into extreme southeastern Houston County, bringing those intense winds there at that point, possibly weakening to a Category 2 storm. So we'll still be dealing with sustained winds over 100 miles per hour, 73 possibly sustained at the airport in Dothan, which of course we know it's a little bit to the north of downtown Dothan itself. So the actual readings in the city will possibly be a little bit higher than that reading. And then as we head into the, say, 8 o'clock hour and beyond, that center is going to be to our northeast. Now maybe taking a little bit more western trek. Before, this model was plotting that center to pass a little bit more to the east of Albany. Now it's going to be to the west. That shows that we will see that more western trek. At least if this model does come to fruition, we could feel the greater impacts from this as far as the winds and heavy rains from this storm as it is moving through. Finally, as we head into the midnight hour and beyond, the storm will start to exit the region. Winds will start to shift out of the northwest and westerly, but still rather breezy as we do head through the day tomorrow. Anything that is damaged debris could be blowing around with sustained winds in the 30s. Gusts will still be even higher than that. And then as we head into the later morning hours tomorrow and in the afternoon and beyond, that's when conditions will start to settle down. But even into Friday, we are going to be dealing with some breezy conditions all across the Wiregrass. Watches and warnings, hurricane warnings still in effect for most of the area. Earlier in the morning, we did have Dale and Henry counties added to that hurricane warning. Obviously, as you would expect with a hurricane coming on shore, the coastal communities are included in that. They will be dealing with the full brunt of the strongest winds from this storm in excess of 145 miles per hour. Tornado threat, that's mostly to the east, but again, it's the wind that's going to be the main concern for us. Flash flooding is going to be a major concern as well. Projections give us upwards of 8 inches or more of rain. Localized, a foot or more of rain will be possible. So tomorrow we'll still probably have some standing water in some low-lying spots. So be careful when you are finally getting out and about. Let's drop the banner on this, guys, so we can get a better look at this. This is very important for us to get the timetable here. A major hurricane is going to be moving into the area. Parts of our viewing area, yes, will have Category 3 major hurricane force winds, and that's a little bit more likely now with that stronger projection for us with those winds still at Category 2 strength by 8 o'clock when that storm is just to our east heading across the border into Georgia. We will have widespread power outages, so be prepared for that. And if you are going to be out tomorrow after cleaning up everything, stay away from down lines because they could still be energized and just down, so they could be detrimental to you if you pick them up and try to touch them or anything. So always assume that power lines are energized. There's that flash flooding threat and the timing. Yeah, we are starting to see the stronger winds begin to move into our area as far as the tropical storm force winds, but as we do head into the mid-afternoon beyond, that's when the hurricane force winds will start to creep into the area, and some of this is still subject to change because the system could wobble a little bit before making landfall. It could wobble a little bit before it gets to us, and it all depends on how thick of the land masses with the panhandle. If it takes a more of a western trek, less land to cross over before it gets to us. If it's just a hair to the west, those winds will be a little bit weaker, and we'll be either way dealing with those strong winds for us. Down at the coast, they're going to be dealing with catastrophic damage. The coast is going to be forever changed by this storm as it comes in with the storm surge with it. Strong winds and the power outages down there could actually last weeks, if not months. So if you have any kind of plans or had plans to travel down there for any kind of long weekends or anything, it's not going to be the same as it has been for us. They're going to be dealing with the effects of this for a long time, just as we will be as well here in the Wiregrass, albeit not quite as extensive as what they will be dealing with down in the coastal communities. Here are the rainfall projections for us through Thursday, 10 o'clock. We're painting in maybe getting close to 9 inches of rain. Localized, we are going to have more. It all depends on where the strongest feeder band set up with the storm coming into the area. So it's now the question. We could see some spots receive